Hello NEXLAB users, it is February 13th, 2015, and we're making this video today because we have a number of changes that are about to be put into place for our models page, and we want to make sure that our users are aware what these changes were and why they've been put into place. Oftentimes when we make major changes to our website, it's because we see a high priority feature that we would like to add to the site or upgrade. For people who have used our site regularly over the past several years, you're probably well aware that we use a Flash animator to do things like run animations and do product overlays as well as comparisons. This has worked fine for us for several years as a utility for desktop browsers. However, in a mobile setting, Flash applications are largely unsupported. Instead, for mobile devices, we use JS Annie, another product developed by University of Wisconsin-Madison, which serves as a lightweight counterpart to Flannis. However, recently Tom has released the successor to Flannis called Hannis, or HTML5 animation software. We are considering this to be a high priority upgrade for our site and are beginning the transition starting with our model products. With any major updates such as this, we often treat these situations as an opportunity to address numerous smaller issues and add new features, and this upgrade is no exception. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at everything that's going to be changed and added to our model products. As most of you are likely aware, a few months back we made the change to our GFS to allow 3-hourly forecast intervals all the way out to 240 hours. The result of this is whenever we load a product, we had to come up with a temporary solution for our rollover feature, which included these boxes. The only reason this temporary solution was ever put into place was simply because we just did not have enough room to display all of the forecast hours within this single bar. We have addressed this issue in this latest upgrade by taking a new approach to the design and function of our rollover feature. As you can see now, whenever you load a product for any one of our models, the rollover feature is now much different in appearance and simply has this marker up top to show the forecast hour. By default, it works in much the same way that you're familiar with. Simply sliding over this bar will move the marker and change the forecast hour as you move from left to right. Now, one common frustration that many people have with any type of rollover is basically accidental entering or exiting of the rollover region. You may have had it happen to you where as you're running through the rollovers, your cursor accidentally leaves the region and the animation stops. Or if you wish to remain on a single image and you accidentally pass through the rollover region and the image changes. If occurrences such as these have frustrated you as a user, you'll want to be aware that now down in the lower right portion of the product page, there is an option for slider type. The two different options we offer are the traditional rollover and now a new draggable feature. With this new slider type selected, this means that simply mousing over the slider region will not cause the image to animate. Instead, you have to click and drag the forecast hour to animate the image. The benefit here is that once you begin dragging, you do not have to keep the cursor within the slider bar. You can move the cursor wherever you like and the animation will still occur. Once you have chosen the slider type that you prefer, that choice is stored in a browser cookie and remain as default anytime you load a new product. Another subtle feature that we've added to animate our model products is the ability to use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Pressing the left and right arrows on your keyboard will now advance or reverse the forecast time. As I said earlier in the video, the major upgrade that we're making is switching over from Flannis to Hannis. In terms of our model products, we use Flannis for looping animations and for comparisons. So now when you go to load a loop, you will be loading it in a Hannis animator. And this change should be relatively unobtrusive. You'll see similar controls that you should be used to with Flannis, along with toggle controls to remove frames if you ever need to. All of our comparison products have been switched over to a Hannis alternative as well, so we'll go ahead and load a previous run comparison. And with these new comparison products, we no longer use a slider bar, but instead all you have to do is move your cursor over the image itself and move it from left to right, and this will change the frames within the comparison product. This works the exact same way for comparing models and comparing products with height. Moving on to a new feature that we've added, most of you that use our NEXLAB single-site radar products are probably well aware that you have the ability to save a dataset as an animated GIF or as a collection of images within a zip file. This is a feature that will now be available for our model products and is eventually something we want to bring to all products across our site. To access this feature, once you have a model product loaded, you will want to click the Save button, which is in the upper right corner of the product page. This will give you two options for saving the model data. So we'll go ahead and do a test of creating an animated GIF. This will generate the animated GIF and then load it for you in a new browser tab. At this point, you'll want to be aware that once these animations are generated, they are stored on our server for 3 days. This means if you wish to share this animation with others using the direct link from our server, it will only be available during that time frame, after which it will be deleted. The other save option we have provided is the ability to save all of the individual images in a zip file, but this time around we've included an HTML file that will open these images and run them in a HANAS animator. Once you've downloaded the zip file and extracted the contents, as you can see, it will contain all of the individual image files for the data set, as well as the HTML file. And if you open the HTML file, it will open all these images in a HANAS animation. It is important to note with these local HANAS animations that it is specifically configured to load the images requested only when the HTML file is in the same folder as the images. Removing any of the original images from the directory will cause the HANAS animator to break. Additionally, any images added to the folder will not appear in the HANAS animation. I now want to shift focus to a couple of new products that have been added to our model data. Specifically for the GFS, we've added a new sector called the Northern Hemisphere sector. As you can see, for this sector, we're using a larger square image, which makes this sector a little bit easier to view. And it comes with a limited subset of products. We have 250 millibar wind speeds, 500 millibar wind speeds, vorticity and temperature, and 850 millibar temperatures. The other new product we've added is specifically for our forecast sounding page, so we'll go ahead and load a sounding here in this hotspot in the latest NAM for Supercell Composite. Now that we have this sounding loaded, hopefully you'll notice that we made a minor cosmetic change. We moved the options for mean layer and surface-based parcel down below the image with a nicer menu, and we've also added the new product, which is simulated text. This product will display the data from the forecast sounding in a very similar way to how it is displayed in an analysis sounding. You have specific data values throughout the depth of the sounding, as well as a number of derived indices that could be used to build a forecast. So with this transition to HANAS, this also means that we are able to increase the usability of our site on mobile devices. What you're seeing right now is how model products will appear when accessing our site from a mobile device. The default mode for the model products on a mobile device will use the fader feature to allow you to step through the forecast with time. You do this by simply tapping on the image and panning from left to right across the image to animate the entire dataset. If you happen to come across an image within the forecast where you would like to place a forecast sounding, switch over to the forecast sounding mode, and then zoom into the area of interest, and tap to load a forecast sounding. As you can see, once the forecast sounding is loaded, you have all the same features that you would see on a desktop setting. You have the mean layer parcel, surface base, as well as the simulated text. The looping feature is of course still available, but now uses a HANAS loop instead of a JS Annie loop. The save feature is also available on mobile, and while both options are available, it is likely that on a mobile device you'll mainly want to be using the animated GIF version. And because we are now using the HANAS fader for comparison products, we are now able to allow all of these comparison options on mobile devices. You can load previous run comparisons, and they load very similarly to how they are shown on a desktop version. And the same is true for the other comparison options as well. That will do it for this video. I hope this has been helpful and you are all excited about the upcoming changes and improvements coming to our models page. Everything you've seen in this video should be available live on our site in the next couple days. As always, if you ever have any comments, suggestions, or concerns with our website, feel free to write us using our feedback page found at weather.cud.edu/feedback. And one last thing before we draw this video to a complete close, if you have ever wanted to go storm chasing, we still have a few spots available on a couple of our 2015 storm chases. We have one spot remaining on our first trip of the year from May 1st through the 10th, and 4 spots remaining on our third trip of the year from May 29th to June 8th. If you are curious and would like further information, please visit weather.cud.edu/chasing and view trip information.